banyumirwa enkola enenyango etali mu nsindikagano.
Nyabo bannange byaddala. Janet omuntu awonye layini gwe nina kusasuliranga ku ssimu labayo bannange.
Tuzimbire wamu ebiseera by'omu maaso ebitangaavu nga tunyiga kamunyenye 285# olunaku lwonna essaawa yonna wonna w'oli. Uganda Revenue Authority, tukulakulanyize wamu Uganda.
Wala banayivudde banzimye zempedde. Jangu eno naawe olowooza ababbi b'oku street be banzibye. Saabo kankubulire natikka ebintu byange okuva China ne bangamba neetaaga tiini namba. Nze nga sigirina neetuma omuntu omulala abindeetere. Kati ngenze mu URA baŋŋambye ebintu byange tebiri mu manya gange era si byange.
Good morning, our dear viewers. My name is Evelyn Akol. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all to today's webinar. My name is Evelyn Akol, Customs Officer, Trade Division, Customs Department. If you're wondering what Refunds and Reconciliation Unit does, we are mandated, among others, with management of customs bond securities. Before we start our discussion this morning, I would like to take us through the legal mandate, where we derive the legal mandate for management of bond securities. Section 106 and Section 107 of the East African Community Customs Management Act 2004 mandates Commissioner Customs to receive security for compliance with the Customs Act and generally for protection of customs revenue in relation to any goods under customs control. Under Section 107 of the East African Customs Management Act, this security may take a form of a bond, cash, partly and partly bond. It is under this mandate that the EAC Community Customs Management Bond comes from. Sorry about that. So our topic this morning is what to expect with the EAC bond. Now, together with me here are my colleagues. At this juncture, I want to ask them to introduce themselves. Let's begin from my left. Kindly, Jackie.
Thank you, Evelyn. Good morning, viewers. My name is Nabweteme Jacqueline, and I work with the Refunds and Reconciliation, Trade Division, and the Customs Department. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Judith Sechito, a Customs Officer working with Customs Refunds and Reconciliation under the Trade Division, Customs Department.
Judith, you're very welcome. We are also joined in by Alvin John Okware, who is going to be answering our questions online. Now let's dive right in. This is going to be a Q&A session, but at the end we shall be answering any questions and giving clarifications where necessary. Our question number 1 goes to Judith. Judith, may you kindly share with us a brief background on bond management and how it has evolved over the years?
Thank you, Evelyn. Good morning once again, our viewers. I'm going to give a brief on bond management and how it has evolved and changed over the years. Now, with bond management, we are talking about the application for a bond or a security, execution and activation of this bond, as well as reconciliation and cancellation of the bond security. What is a customs bond? A customs bond is a contract between 3 parties, and here we have customs or URA, the principal who is the clearing agent or the importer, and the guarantor who is an insurance company or a bank. Now these parties come together on an agreement that goods which are under customs control and have not paid taxes will be guaranteed, and the due taxes will be paid just in case of any eventuality. So what are the types of bonds that we have? The types of securities. We have bond securities, customs bond securities. We have bank guarantees and checks. These are cash securities. So it can be both bond, insurance bond and cash, or either bond and also cash. What is the purpose of the bond? The purpose of the bond or the security is to guarantee taxes for all goods prior to payment of taxes. So all goods that are coming into the country that have not paid taxes have to be guaranteed. And a customs bond or in form of insurance or bank guarantee has to be taken out to guarantee these goods. Over the years, we have had many manual processes that have been in place. And we had different types of bonds, many different types of bonds, which were eventually merged. We had bonds for transit, what we called the CB2. We had the CB3 for warehousing of goods. We had a CB4. CB means customs bond. So we had a customs bond for perishables, which was a CB1, for transit, which was a CB2, warehousing of goods, a CB3. Then we had export, that was a CB4. We had CB6, which is warehousing. We had CB9, which was transshipment. All these bonds, temporary importation, CB10, a bond for customs agents, CB12. All these bonds were all manual processes, and they involved a lot of paperwork. A lot of paperwork, documents had to be taken from one place to the other. So, with the coming up of Ascuda World, the bonds were merged. And we remained with three bonds, which was a transit bond, which is a CB2, the bonded warehouse, which is a CB6, and the CB10. But remember, the CB10 bond is still a manual process. So when these two bonds were merged, as long as an agent is licensed and has access to Ascuda, he is able to take out this bond and transact any of his consignments with this CB2 bond. With the coming up of the single customs territory, the RCTG bond, COMESA bond, was brought in. The CB2 was upgraded to the COMESA RCTG bond. Now, the COMESA RCTG bond is a regional bond and helps with transiting goods from the port, from and to the port. So this bond helped with the moving away from manual processes, and now the bonding process is online. Currently, we have these custom securities in place. We have the COMESA RCTG bond, then we have the CB6 warehousing bond and the CB10 temporary importation bond. We also receive checks or bank guarantees for goods under provisional release, as well as goods under temporary importation. For purposes of this engagement, we are now set to pilot the EAC Customs Bond, which will be handling in the beginning the transit bond. The warehousing and the CB10 bond will be piloted after some time, but right now we shall be handling the CB2 bond. So that is the brief that I can give on the bond management process. Thank you, Evelyn. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Judith. You can see where we've come from. We've come from merge of bonds, and then we later on we zeroed down to about 4. Is that what you were saying? Yes. And now there is EAC coming up, and this is meant to further streamline the process. So we should expect better things with the EAC bond, isn't it? Yes. Thank you so much, Judith, for that brief background. And now our second question goes to over you, Jackie. Jackie, this EAC bond, we've been hearing about it in the corridors. Can you kindly explain to us and to our viewers what the EAC bond is?
Thank you, Evelyn. The EAC Customs Bond is actually the East African Community Customs Bond. and it's aiming at enhancing trade across the region. It's a regional bond. It's going to be enhancing trade and customs bond management and enforcement across the region. The bond itself aims at also streamlining the application process, as my friend has already pointed it out. It will streamline application process as you're applying for this bond. It will streamline and automate all processes concerning bond management, including utilization, retirement, and cancellation. We are looking at this bond enhancing and reducing the number and the volume of documentation related to customs bond management, which will definitely facilitate trade and reduce of the clearance times. Then the EAC customs bond platform will be integrated across different systems. We are seeing it being integrating the port authority systems, the guarantors systems, that is the IRA systems relating to insurance and covering these goods. Then also it will integrate the customs systems, that is a SCODA, which is majorly what we use here. It will cover the different kinds of bonds, as my friend has already pointed them out, the transit bond, the CB6, and the CB10s. And later, I believe it will bring on board provisional releases that we handle as a section. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you for that elaborate explanation on what EAC bond is. As you can see, EAC bond is a regional bond. So an EAC bond is going to streamline and automate the bond process right from the application to a reconciliation. So, so we expect a transparent, bringing in key players on board, key players like insurance, banks. Thank you so much, Jackie. So Judith, you're taking on our next question. Who are the players in the EAC, East African Community Customs Bond? Who are the players and what are their roles? I know some of them have logged in, so can you please take us through that?
Thank you, Evelyn. The different players to the EAC Customs Bond include the clearing agents, and then they also include the guarantors. And in the guarantors here, we are talking about insurance companies and banks. It also includes the EAC Secretariat and also Customs URA. Now, what are the different roles for these players? The clearing agent is his major role is to apply for the customs bond. A licensed clearing firm will have access to the application of the bond, and they are able, once the bond has been vetted and executed, they are able to carry out declarations on behalf of their importers, of their clients for this with this bond. So the clearing agent's role, he takes up like the first step after he's licensed. He logs into the system, will apply for the bond, make the necessary payments. The bond will be activated in a SCODA world, then transactions can be applied on that bond. What is the role of the guarantor? The guarantor is a major player in this, because once the main purpose of the guarantor is to guarantee the taxes on these goods. So his role is to ensure that he receives enough premium or collateral on behalf of the client to be able to guarantee in case of any eventuality. So what does he do? He approves the application of the clearing agent. He has to make sure the clearing agent is worthy and able, he's also licensed and able to take on the role of handling these consignments. So the guarantor receives the premium or the collateral. He approves the application. He handles all the documentary evidence that is needed. He makes sure that enough collateral has been received on behalf of customs. And then he issues out the bond document. This document is issued to URA and it is then activated in our systems. Then we have the URA staff. different staff in different sections have a role to play. And here we can talk about the warehousing teams, we can talk about the enforcement teams, we can talk about the IT teams, ASCUDA, the system, custom systems and procedures teams. All these come together with the reconciliation team, refunds and reconciliation. We come together to make sure that this bond is properly handled, operation and utilization of the bond, as well as replenishment and cancellation is handled well. Then we have the EAC Secretariat. This is one of the major players in this because they are the ones who house the EAC Customs Bond. They are going to play an administrative role. They will make sure that the guarantors are worthy of guaranteeing the taxes that may be charged on these bond documents. So they coordinate between all the stakeholders. They ensure that the IT systems are in place, that can and the integration between the different players has been put together. So the EAC Secretariat will house the EAC Customs Bond, and they will ensure that all the stakeholders are working together and integrated to make this a success. Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you so much. We can see the new team player, the secretariat coming in. And then you can also see the clearing agents will be making these applications online. So, and the different guarantors, they are coming into the process. So they will be logging in and they play a part of the process, EAC bond process. So thank you so much. So let's go our next question. Our next question goes to Jackie. Jacqueline, why the EAC bond? Why the EAC bond? What is new? Why don't we just improve our existing process? So why are we adopting this EAC bond? What new thing is it bringing on board?
Thank you, Evelyn. As my friend has already explained, we are seeing the EAC bond giving us an opportunity to integrate all systems. We are seeing the EAC bond giving us an opportunity to curb all challenges that we have been facing with the current bond management system. Those challenges have been a pain to some of our clients, the manual processes, the manual way of applying for a bond. However, the EAC bond is bringing on board seamless integration of ASCUDA systems with the SIMBA systems that are being used all over the region, the ICMS, and this will ease execution of work, execution of bond. And also we are seeing the EAC bond, why we should really appreciate the EAC Customs Bond. We are seeing transparency because different stakeholders will be able to access this system, be able to monitor, real-time monitoring of the progress of this bond from the time of application up to execution, utilization. So the system will be able to give all this information to the different users, as we have said, the different users, the insurers, the guarantors, the agents. The URA itself will be able to follow up with the information that has been put into the system. So there is quick access to this information and transparency to all the stakeholders. We are also seeing reduction or improvement in the clearance time of goods because this is an automated system. So we are expectant and seeing the clearance time of goods and cargo management really reducing. And this will also definitely lead to reduction in the cost of doing business for our clients. Any businessman would want to spend less through the clearing process, and this will surely bring on board reduction in clearance time of goods and cargo management. Maybe lastly, I can say there will be proper accountability. Because of the automation, there is a lot of data that will be put in the system, and there will be easy accountability to all the users. They will easily view the reports concerning movements, concerning claims, concerning anything about the bond that will be executed into the system, and the progress of the bond from the time it's executed up to retirement. So I believe EAC Bond is going to bring all this on board. We should appreciate it and use it and implement it. Thank you.
The EAC Bond is going to address the integration challenges that we've been having. It's going to address the manual processes that have been in the previous process. It's going to bring in about accountability. It's going to real-time alerts.
Yes.
And then also with the reconciliation, it's going to send real-time alerts in case to the regulators or the guarantors. So we are looking at having a transparent, a fast, integrated system. So this is good news. This is good news. And our next question to you, Judith, briefly highlight how the EAC Bond will operate. How would it operate?
Thank you, Evelyn. The operations of the EAC Bond, many of the bonding processes will remain as has been, but the EAC Customs Bond will be purely an online process. This bond will be housed in 3 platforms: in the single window platform, in the EAC Customs Ascuda world. These 3 platforms have been integrated to be able to have a smooth application process for the bond. The insurance companies and the banks, and URA will be an overseer in this process, because we'll have to ensure that the information that has been captured is correct, the agents are licensed clearing firms, and the activation in Ascuda has been handled in the proper way. So how does an agent get a bond and is licensed in single window? They have to have received a license for that particular year, and their information is already in the single transaction portal under the single window. So when he logs into the system to apply for the bond under single window, his details will already be captured on logging into the system. And at this point, he will indicate the amount of bond that he needs, and the insurance company have a section where he'll indicate what type of bond does he want. Does he want a CB2, a CB6, or a CB10? However, during piloting, we are strictly handling transit, and that's why we need licensed clearing firms. Now, once the clearing agent makes this application will be made after he has been licensed. He will submit his application in single window, and the information will be transmitted into the EAC Management Information System, where the guarantor will be able to access and customs will be able to view what has been updated. Your client has registered for a bond. The agent has input into the system. Discussions about the bond correct. His role is to ensure that he'll be able to issue out premiums and pay the collateral that may be required. So the guarantor continues to vet this application by inputting the details of the collateral to be collected, and this is in the form of premium. If this information is dispatched to the agent, pay the requisite stamp duty notification, and once the stamp duty PRN is paid, this bond will be automatically approved, and insurance can therefore declarations. Transit will be able to monitor these consignments, and the bond will be active in the system. Now, the process of bond management, the operational procedures will continue to play. The EAC will introduce a tracking system which will be enhancing the transits such that consignments are destination. The EAC Bond MIS will be integrated with custom systems to enable this online application to go on. So all the manual processes will be put aside. The agent is licensed, he can go forward and apply for the bond, he can pay. So what is different with the EAC bond? They will remove all the manual processes associated with bonds. This includes the bond paperwork. We know the manual stamps that have been happening, the manual application and retirement, bond replenishment transaction. An agent will be able to apply for a single consignment or for multiple consignments. Yeah. And then this will enhance improved bond utilization and effective bond reconciliation and cancellation. With that, I submit. Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you so much. Process. It's going to be an online process. It's bringing on board the guarantors, so they will do the approvals in the system. It's going to remove all, and this is an A session, and would like to take this moment to welcome any questions from our viewers. If you have anything, you need clarification from our panelists, we are here to answer. But I think we already have EAC bond and why it's not a duplication of the RCTG bond.
Exercise is meaning hand in hand. A client will be at will to choose which bond to use to execute, whether through the RCTG or use EAC Customs bond. But what I would love to emphasize about the EAC bond is that it's purely automated. Judith has just mentioned it. It's purely automated. No applying, because initially clearing agent has been applying to the manager refunds and reconciliation. They apply and request in writing to execute this bond, which has been causing so many delays. But with the EAC bond, she further explained that you apply through the EAC single window, which we earlier took you through. You apply through the single window. It's an online process, and there is seamless data flow. Data is integrated, flows through the EAC single window, and it communicates to the EAC MIS, where the clearing agent goes further to choose the guarantor to use, which has not been the case. The process has been manual, but now it's going to be fully automated. And this is going to reduce on the clearance time. It's going to improve the clearance time that you've been taking to execute the bond. Then you have to run back to us so that we can activate it. But this upon payment of the stamp duty, the bond will automatically be activated in a SCUDA, and you'll see it active. It doesn't need any officer's input to activate this bond. The system will automatically activate the bond that you have paid for, upon paying stamp duty. I hope I've been clear and explained further how the EAC bond will work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Susan, I think they've answered you. It's totally different, a different bond, and it's going to be purely online. And there are so many benefits and different aspects that it has brought on board. So, this next question, our next question is coming from Mayanja Majid. And this is his question. Do all the countries have the same operation procedures now that you want to integrate to EAC bond? I guess what he means by do all the countries is EAC partner states. So Jackie, can you, Judith, can you try to clarify to Mr. Mayanja on his question?
Thank you, Evelyn. Yes, the countries within the EAC will have the same procedures, because once the systems have been integrated, then you will find that for goods consigned to Uganda, maybe from Kenya or from wherever within the region, the procedures are the same. The transit procedures will not change. The systems are the ones that are going to change. The documentation is what is going to change, but the transit procedures are going to remain the same. So it is just an enhancement of the system to make it more seamless with the reduction of the challenges that have been going on. So yes, we agree with what you have written. Yes, the procedures will be the same within the partner states. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jackie, for that, Judith, for that clarification. And to our viewer, yes, other partner states are going to be involved. I know Uganda is piloting, but other states, partner states are coming on board. So we'll be using the same system. And that's why it's called the EAC, East African Community Customs Bond. So let's look forward to that. And we have another question from our very own Barbara Dodge. And her question is, what is the difference between the EAC bond and RCTG bond? Jackie, would you like to answer that?
The EAC bond, the EAC customs bond is actually being enhanced. The EAC customs bond is the East African Community Customs Bond. Unlike the RCTG, which is the regional customs, RCTG, which was implemented by COMESA. We're having the EAC customs bond being implemented by the EAC Secretariat, and the RCTG bond was implemented by the COMESA Secretariat. So I don't know whether she wants further differences, but we have already talked about the benefits of using the EAC customs bond, and vis-a-vis the current bond that we have been using. We have emphasized the automation bit, and basically it's going to bring new products on board, though my colleague has already said that it will start with the transit bond, but however, it will bring other products. It will still cover the CB6, the temporary importations. Temporary importation has been a manual process, so if it's automated, it will really be a benefit to URA, and we shall be able to reconcile these bonds on time. Unlike the RCTG, which doesn't cover, which is not automated fully, because this will allow URA to be able to follow up with the automated system in regard to the different bonds.
Okay, thank you so much, Jackie, for that answer. To our viewer, the EAC bond is our bond, and it's going to be operated by our secretariat, the EAC Secretariat. And it will be providing solutions to our problems and our challenges. So I'm very, very sure the COMESA transit bond is different from the EAC bond. On top of all other salient differences that have been brought out in the discussion during the discussion. So we have another question again. Gerald Mawanda is asking us, what does this EAC bond, where does this EAC bond leave insurance brokers? They won't be earning any commissions anymore, since the communication is between the guarantor, customs, and the licensed agent. This is a bit a political question. And over to you, to Judith. Can you please clarify?
Okay. We are now in the process of piloting. The system is still being enhanced. It is going to go live, and one of the issues that was raised by the guarantors during the trainings that we have been having is that they would request for their commission, their brokers to be part of this system. So the Secretariat is going to link up with the Insurance Regulatory Authority to ensure that, to see that the insurance brokers, because the insurance brokers are the ones who bring the business to the guarantors. So this can be raised with your insurance authority. They will be able to forward this concern to the EAC Secretariat. But the EAC Secretariat was positive on this, that the commission, the brokers, because the brokerage system is in the insurance fraternity, it can be handled through your regulatory authority. So kindly, all insurance agents, please go through the IRA. They will be able to pass this concern over to the EAC Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So, Gerald, your commission, we are still under development and your issue will be handled. Just use the right channels. Another question from Nicholas. And this question is, how do you go about with the goods within the region and are transported by bus and those below the $2,000 and they don't need a clearing agent? Judith, how are we going to handle this? The goods that are below the ratio, and then the goods within the region that are transported by buses. I think these are small businesses and small goods on transit.
Thank you very much. As we stated during my presentation earlier, the procedures, customs procedures that have been going on are not changing. Here we are dealing with goods that need declaration of a clearing agent. So once you do not need a clearing agent, kindly approach the in charge of the station and you'll be able to be helped to handle these consignments. So all the customs procedures will not change. The transit procedures will not change. What is changing here is the type of the bond, and this bond needs the action of a clearing agent. So what I can tell you is that as long as you do not need a clearing agent, kindly approach the station where you're handling these goods. You'll be assisted to move your goods. Thank you.
You've heard it, Olas. This process is not coming to do away with already existing processes. It's just an enhancement of already transit process that's on board. So the small traders, you can go about your business as you have been going until further notice. So it's just an enhancement of already existing process, and we shouldn't be worried. The other process still go forward as they've been going. I think we've come to the end of our discussion today. If you have any questions or any clarifications, our offices are open. Feel free to reach out to us. And for any questions that have been posted online and we have not been able to answer, we shall give you feedback during the course of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you. Have a great day.
URA sinaba kusasula msolo Janet lete basa je nakuwa banange sinasasula URA aya esawa zigenda kugwayo asibye bino waliwo basa je nasemba yokuwa aya esawa zonna ebiza kubanga bye bino kangende biranja bikeberere afande njagala kudduka genda kusasula msolo ngenda kusanga basibyewo
nyabo icyo kibaje kipakusa tokimanyi nti URA yabigonza dda kati usokusasula kusimyo nyabo
nti afande
ungamunize star 285 ash ngogobeje mitejerejo ngofuna ka message ate URA yakuwaize chapula teba kubanga URA
Thank you so much, Afande.
Okalubirizibwa okusasula omusolo gwa bizinesi y'ombudde genda bugenze mu ssimu nnyonyige kamunyenye 285 hash abaddukanya bizinesi entono eziyingiza wakati wa miliyoni 10 ne miliyoni 15 omwaka bakwanguyirwa okusasula omusolo gwabwe ogwa presumptive tax nga banyigabanyezi kamunyenye 285 hash banyumirwe enkola enennyango etali mu nsindikagano.
Nyabo bannange bya ddala Janet omuntu awonyera yini gwe ninda kusasuliranga ku ssimu labayo bannange
tuzimbire wamu ebiseera by'omu maaso ebitangaavu nga tunyiga kamunyenye 285 hash olunaku lwonna essaawa yonna wonna w'oli. Uganda Revenue Authority tukulaakulanyize wamu Uganda.
Walala bana evudde banzimye zempedde. Yangwe wano naawe olowooza ababbi b'oku street be banzibye saabo kankubulire natikka ebintu byange okuva e China ne bangamba neetaaga tiini namba nze nga sigirina neetuma omuntu omulala abindeetere kati ngenze mu URA baŋŋambye ebintu byange